Hi friends, it's Susan Smith with StampCreatively. I have a quick walkthrough of what we did yesterday at OnStage. I was able to demonstrate some things, so I'm going to go through and show you what I made and a little bit of how I did it, some of my samples. I'll be doing more videos this week with some more detail and some more product, but I had several people as I was taking the things off the boards yesterday that wanted to take some more pictures and spend some more time with the samples. So I thought I would do this real quick so you could see them. So we got this catalog yesterday, or I actually got mine Friday night. I cannot show you the inside, but I can show you the outside. And I can show you a stamp set that is going to be in there. Is that not beautiful? I've made a card with it that I will show you later in the week, because I can't show you everything at once. Then I can show you the outside of this catalog, and I can tell you the suite that we demoed is all of this product, and this is the designer series paper we used. So I'm going to show you some of it and some of the suite, and then I'll show you the cards, and then again I'll show you a little bit more later. The first thing I showed everyone yesterday was there are some fabulous dies in the suite. This is the designer series paper. These are all 9 of my grandchildren, but what I really wanted you to see was the fantastic shimmer on this designer series, and it's cardstock. I mean, it's super thick. It's almost like someone put super shimmer on the back of that cardboard that's in our DSP. That's how thick it is. So in the detailed dies, it was hard to cut out. Let me show you this. There were 2 stamp sets I worked with, and we love that Stampin' Up has gone to this whole theory. So I worked with the 2-tone floral and the 2-tone floral dies. I worked with the something fancy and the something fancy dies. And this is the dies that has all the tags and this octagon that's in the front. But this is the one I worked with that was on that scrapbook page. So there's those 2 sets. There's some beautiful ribbon that I'll show you on my projects. One of the things I like to do when I start with new product, I laid out all of the colors in the designer series paper. This is the fancy floral designer series paper. There are 12 colors in here. And I like to put it in one of these packets and cut the back and put it here. But I'll show you, it's got all my scraps in it from all these samples I made. But it's that kind of like palette knife designer series paper. It's really pretty. Again, I got lots of scraps in there. So this is what I like to do with my designer series paper when I get it. And then I laid out my 12 colors and made some color combos, which I also liked. So that's 2 of the things I wanted to show you. I'm going to show you some cards that I created with that product, and then I'm going to make the 3 projects I made. So let me zoom in so I can just stack these up and show them to you. As long as I don't lose, it doesn't get too blurry. So this is one of the samples. This is one. This is one where I took the big background and made a stencil with it. And that's one of the projects that I showed. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. This is my beginner card that I did. This is my casual. This is the one that I watercolored. Oh, here's my avid card. I'll show you those, how I did them in a minute. This one, they couldn't see because it was on the board, but this was cut out with that glimmer paper that I told you was so thick I had to cut it in half. Then I did this with it. So you can see that designer series paper on both sides. This is that beautiful pool party ribbon. Let's scooch these back just a little bit. The designer series paper is so pretty, it can make a whole card front. And then this is just one of the dies with the sentiments are really pretty. Gosh, I can't hold on. I'm holding on to things funny because there are these, because they were on the display boards, they put those on the back. So my hands keep sticking to them. This is another one of those stencil cards that I did. Then I cut it so it opened up like that. This is showing you the pretty designer series paper. And I put a little wink of Stella on my flowers. And these are the gems that come with the suite. I took that great big background stamp and ran it through on watercolor paper. And then I watercolored the whole sheet and then just cut out parts of it and put it on that pretty shimmer paper. The shimmer paper, like all of our shimmer paper, the only way to get anything to stick is to go ahead and use your Tombow because it just doesn't stick. This is that designer series paper. I just cut it in 1-inch strips and then flipped it. That's the front and the back. And then that's that pretty flower with the die. And then this, I cut out a ton of these shapes for my scrapbook page, and I had some left over, so I just made a card. But you can probably see it best on this, and you can see that background. This is that thick shimmer paper, and I ran it through the painted texture 3D embossing folder, and it did beautiful. I may be a little bit tired. We had an event Friday. Yesterday it was on stage all day, and then today we had another event. And so Mama may be a little tired. I said I would come down and do this, and I really want to sit down in front of the fire and watch football. So let me show you how I did these. We created a class with the suite and this note cards and envelopes, and I will talk about that on another video. Okay, so what I did, this is my tray. Like I just took the tray and dropped it right in my box from yesterday. So this tray was on stage yesterday. All right, so what I did was they asked us to do 3 different cards. They asked us to do a casual one. That's not it. This is the casual. So when they have us do a casual card, there can't be anything done with a big shot, and it has to be for our very most basic stampers. So I took the 6x6 and cut it into 3x3 square. I took the shimmer paper and just cut, this is 2x4. And then I put on a piece of the ribbon and stamped a simple thank you. The words in this are so pretty. I love the words and the fonts that they used in that stamp set. The something special, something fancy. I should know that by now, but the thank you's pretty, and I love the way they changed the fonts on these. Okay, so then to step it up, I did this one. So I did a 3x3 square. I cut a piece of soft succulent, and I cut it so that it was 4 by 5 1/4. And then I took my evening evergreen. If you haven't done this before, you just take your evening evergreen and you tap it in there, and then it's going to give it an edge so it looks like I've layered. I've put some evening evergreen cardstock behind it, but I haven't. I've just tapped the edges. And then I fancied my ribbon and added some embellishments. So it's just a little bit different. Oh, and then this is run through the painted texture embossing folder. So again, when you do the basic, the beginner stamper, you assume they don't have a die cut machine. They don't have any of the fancy stuff. So that's why I did it this way with the same sentiment. Okay, so for the avid stamper, which is much more what I am, I decided to take the big die from the dies, and I made a stencil. I used our craft paper and created a stencil. So in that stencil, I put it in my Stamparatus. Let me zoom out just a little bit. I put it in my Stamparatus. I scored it and put the magnets there. And then I took a little bit of washi tape to hold down the paper. Once I kind of get it where I want it under here, I'm going to hold that down, and then I'm going to put a little washi tape down there in the corner. Okay? I've got my blending brush, and I used my soft succulent. And I'm going to go over it lightly because I want to add some color with my stencil. Okay, so I'll show you how that looks. So you can see where I'm darker, it's darker. Where I'm lighter, it's lighter. I can rub it around or I can tap it on here. You get to do it any way you want because it's your stencil and your stencil brush. We did talk about that if you had a beginner stamper and you wanted to show them this, part of their class fee or their camp fee could be the actual stencil. So that would be helpful if you could use that as part of their class fee. So I can keep going back and forth and doing this to change my color. And so the completed card, like that, for an avid stamper, looks like this. So you can see my die in the background. It's really subtle. It's a little lighter down here and a little darker up here. I did that to show them the difference. This image was stamped on the designer series paper, and all I did was stamp the second part of the two-step stamping, and then I colored my pearls with blends. And then this, I used the sprig punch on that shimmer paper. Okay, and I'm going to show you one more that I did, because I mean, we're one more people. So I slid this under here, and instead of using my blending brush and the soft succulent, I used Versamark, and I went over and tapped the whole front of it, and then I embossed it in crystal clear and came up with this. So this is the same technique, only with Versamark and the crystal clear embossing powder. Okay, so then I took some of our embossing paste and put soft succulent embossing powder in it, and then punched out my bow punch. It's not called sprigs, it's bow, and punched that out. And so on this one, that is the leaves that are out of the embossing paste. This was embossed with the embossing folder again. These are both cut out with the new dies, and there it is, the same thing, stamped on the designer series paper. I just did the outside stamp, ran it through the die machine, and I colored these pearls. Okay, let me show you how I did the fancy ribbon. Oh, here's the paper that I cut that out of. So that's where this flower comes out of. So to do the ribbon, you are going to take your tear and tape, and I'm just going to take a piece of the ribbon, move this out of the way, get my tear and tape, and put it right down the ribbon. Smash it down. Then I'm going to tear off the tear and tape and put it right down the side by just smashing it down. There it is. And then I would have added this. And I had another piece right here. It was right here, but it's not now. Dang it. There's my flower. There's my evening evergreen pearls that I colored a few of those. These gems are beautiful on there. I was just, they only gave us so many, and I was using them on all the cards, so I was afraid I was gonna not have enough. Here's some of these punched out with paste again. So there you go. Let me put them all out here again. Here's the beginner, the casual, the avid. Here's another avid. Here you go, friends. It was so much fun to present on stage. That's something I've never done before. I was honored and blessed and thankful to be able to do it. I was thankful for my friends, that I got to sit with friends and hang out with them and see people I haven't seen in a long time. It was just great to be in an event again. All right, thanks for joining me, and I will have more videos this week with more product. I just needed to show you this first. All right, friends, thanks for joining me. Have a great evening. Bye.